Hi, this is Sunny Harris, and I'm going to talk to you today about trading fast markets with SunnyBands and my proprietary Ultimate F compounding. My passion is in helping other people become traders. I love it when people call. I had a guy call me yesterday and said, I've had the best month. I made $9,000 so far this month. I said, that's fantastic. He said, well, last month I made 23,000. I'm like, that's great. He's like, I'm using SunnyBands. That's all I'm doing. So I love to help people and I love those phone calls. So I don't only help beginners, I help intermediate traders as well. And this talk is for people who have not yet become wildly successful or who haven't traded much and want to learn, or people who want to improve their trading results. So I love to teach and mentor and consult. And this is my actual phone number in red right there. That's my cell phone. You call, I answer it. And a lot of people, well, I interviewed John Najarian yesterday for my podcast. He said he was sure it was going to be a phone number that led straight to sales. And it isn't. It leads straight to me. So give me a call. The mandatory disclaimers are scary, but they come down to, I want you to read this. I will post this on my website. But they come down to you can and will lose money trading and you may lose it all. So be sure you only trade with money you can afford to lose. Never risk more than you can afford to lose. And you can click here to see that full disclosure of the details. So I'm Sunny Harris, and I like to keep things simple. Now, Dan before me said some wonderful things about the way trading works and how you have to keep talking to your mind and keep it on positive things. One of the things that helps me keep things simple is color coding. So that keeps me organized. I'm going to show you today how I do that and give you examples to show you how I trade. And we're going to look at the about stuff. Got to get that out of the way. So I'm going to tell you today exactly how I trade every day. And in fact, I have a live trading room every morning. You can subscribe to that, or if you want to come on Wednesdays only, you can certainly do that by texting me to that phone number. It's at the bottom of every page. You text me to that phone number. Oh,
the time is 3:00 p.m.
My clock talks to me. So you can text me if you'd like to join in one of our Wednesday morning sessions. Type bonus pass. No, that's not right. Guest pass. If you'll text me guest pass, I'll sign you into that. And I use my own indicators, of course, on everything that I do. And they are SunnyBands, the dynamic moving average histogram, and not Y, it's supposed to say who's on top. And I don't hold anything back. A lot of people show you how they trade and they kind of wave their hands, and it's like, oh, well, I just do some of this and some of that. I don't do that. I tell you exactly what I'm doing. So I'm a professional trader. I've been a professional trader since 1981. I've been through the 41% crash of 87, the 38% crash of 2000, 52% crash of, it's got a crash twice, from 2007 to 2008, as well as the 38% COVID crash. So you might say I've been through a few of them. And I enjoy them. I love to go short, so I enjoy crashes. But I trade the S&P 500 futures contract on 1 and 5 minute charts. And that's what I mean by fast. I've heard it said that the S&P is the most difficult market to trade, and I disagree. I think the NASDAQ is more difficult. But I've been doing it for over 43 years. And I do have long-term stock holdings as well in a different portfolio. And long-term to me means a week or more, because you can see if you're trading on a 5 minute chart, a week's long-term. And I trade a little bit of cryptocurrencies. I have some Ethereum. So I'm going to show you how I trade with SunnyBands, the DMA histogram in fast markets, And then I'm going to show you something I have only talked once before about, and that's my compounding spreadsheet called Ultimate F. And I'll show you how this works. So you can click on this and sign up for a free Sunday night newsletter, Sunday Side of the Street, or you can text SSS to my phone number, 760-908-3070. And I explain why my indicators are telling me about 12 different markets. If you can't find it, just email me. It's sunny@moneymentor.com. Or when you get the PDF, you can click above and bring it up that way. So I do post that on my website for members, and membership is free. All you have to do is join, and you have access to all kinds of free stuff. Oh, and I have a podcast. We've done 44, I think, now. And I just interviewed John Nigerian the other day, yesterday, and he'll be posted next week. And I interviewed John Bollinger, which was a lot of fun. And I've got all kinds of famous people. So I think it's really important to learn history. I didn't like history in high school, but when I started trading, I found that history is very important. So I like to know the legends that came before me and what they're like as people and how they got into trading in the first place. So that's what we do. We just talk. It's called the Sunny Harris Show. And the legends, I said that. You could see all the ones we've done so far, moneymentor.com/podcast.html. Larry Williams, Jake Bernstein, Steve Nissen, Linda Raschke, Dr. Elder, yep, John Bollinger, Cynthia Case. These are just a few of them. Sherman McClellan of the McClellan Oscillator, Carolyn Borodin, Fibonacci Queen, Greg Morris, and many more. So they're fun to listen to, and it's fun to listen to them while you trade because it's kind of background noise and kind of seeps in at the same time. Oh, I've been rated #1 trader twice using SunnyBands and my DMA. And you can see right there at the top, that's the #1 position with 365.4%. This is my history. I grew up in Appalachia. I decided education was the way out, so I got a bunch of degrees in mathematics, one in telecommunications. I took courses at Stanford, Wharton, SDSU, and UCLA. I've been programming for 55 years. I've been trading for 43. Right after college, I became a systems programmer for Lockheed up in Northern California. And then I was one of the founders of ISCO, the world's leader in computer graphics software, which eventually became Harvard Graphics. And then when I was 30, I retired. And I gave my money to money managers, and they lost $75,000 in 3 weeks. And I thought, I can do that poorly on my own. I'll learn how. So I read and read and read. And now I've read 747 books on trading and related subjects. But I didn't enter a single trade for the first year. I just watched the market. I plotted charts by hand on graph paper. I taped them one to the other and kept them on going for years. I think plotting charts by hand is very beneficial. I think it teaches you something about the motion of the markets that you don't learn by just looking at somebody else's already prefabricated chart in a piece of software. So it really helps to plot by hand. And then I published a monthly magazine for 8 years called Trader's Catalog and Resource Guide. Oh, that's enough. I've written 5 best-selling trading books and another that's not a trading book. And then last year, we released the definitive guide to TradeStation's easy language and OOEL programming. I wrote that with Sam Tennis. And I've written articles for everything on the magazines. And there's the covers of my books. See them real quick. I also wrote Using Easy Language 9.x with Murray Ruggiero. There's volume 1 of the new book, and volume 2. And I think together they weigh about 6 or 7 pounds. It's 1,300 pages of Made Simple. I'm going to read you a couple quips and quotes, or at least one. Rick says, I wanted to let you know how helpful your daily trading room sessions have been. It's refreshing to see someone trade live and answer any questions that we have. It's so much better than a service that just wants to sell you something and send you on your way. This is really speeding up my learning, and I look forward to trading along with you. Thanks for all you're doing to help people learn the art of trading. I thought that was very sweet. Oh, this one's good. This guy got a free trial of SunnyBands, and he made $3,500 in the first week in a free trial. And then he got another free trial. And then he decided to buy it. So that's a few little quotes. I've got a whole lot of them on my website, moneymentor.com, at quips and quotes. I am a mathematician. My daughter used to call me a mathematician. I spelled it wrong because I approach everything logically. If this is true, then that happens. I go with if-then sentences. It's my nature. And always remember, the only reason to trade is to make money. If you're doing it for any other reason, if you're doing it for the excitement or the challenge or the gambling aspect of it, any of those things, quit. The only reason to trade is to make money. And I'm going to show you how to figure out how much money you can make. So when I first started doing this, I wanted to know, can I make enough money with the systems I have in mind to make a good living, or should I be working at McDonald's? Because if you're a losing trader, what's your hourly wage? Less than McDonald's. So I set out a goal of $120,000 a year in trading profits. And if you break it down, so that's just what I like to do, the logical steps. If you break it down, that's $10,000 a month. Well, it seems a little more possible now, but still $10,000 a month in trading seems like a lot. But at 20 trading days a month, that's only $500 a day. Now it's definitely more possible. And that translates to 5 trades at $100 each. That's pretty easy to do. But you have to break it down to understand where it's going. You can't, the long journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So it's doable if you think of 5 trades a day, $100 each. That's 2 S&P points. So then I came to something I called my PHW, which stands for potential hourly wage, because I wanted to know, okay, I've broken it down to 5 trades a day of 100 each. So how much is that per hour? So you have to divide that by 6.5 hours. So it stands for potential hourly wage. And the question is, can you make more by trading than by working for an hourly wage? And I'm going to show you some dots that are my PHW dots on the ideal turning points on the chart. And I'm going to tell you about that. So we can't be perfect, but we can get close. So I estimate that I can take 60% of the ideal as a goal. So if the ideal is $1,000, then I can probably make 600 out of that. You give away 20% on the entry, give away 20% on the exit, and you're still left with 60%. So that's what I call my PHW. Now this is my main Dow chart. This is the Dow as of last night or this morning or something. You can see the SunnyBands are the green and teal lines that contain price pretty well right through here. The gold and purple lines are my dynamic moving average, DMA, dynamic moving average. And I have a little set of rules. There's 3 rules that you have to put together to trade this. And it tells you where to enter, where to exit. There's the exit. Here's another entry. Here's another exit. So you can see these on the SunnyBands. The stripes at the bottom are a histogram, And they are a measure of the difference. And you see the scales like 0 and 0 point something, and it's a really small scale. But it's the difference between the gold and purple lines on the DMA. So when they're farther apart, you can see it's trending. And as they start to get closer and closer together, you can see we're about to make a turn. When it goes below 0, it's telling me that we should be short in through here. But then I have rules that say if the DMA is flat and gold is on top, you stay with the trade, or at least I stay with the trade. I'm not telling you how to trade. So that's what I do. Let's make the yellow dots more obvious. This is the same chart without the SunnyBands on it. And you can see the yellow dots. They're not perfect, but they're awfully close to showing you where the swings would be. So if, I think I'm going to say that next. I don't. So they're as close to perfect as I can get them out for, but they're not a leading indicator. So many people are like, I want to buy that. That calls out the perfect trades. Well, of course it does, because it calls them out after the fact. Now I use them for research. My nightly ritual is I still print out each day's charts and analyze them to see, did I get the trades with respect to the dots? How close did I get? Did I overtrade? Was I trading where there weren't dots? And did I make as much money as the PHW did? I want to know that every single day. How did I stack up today? Here's another PHW view now. This is called radar screen. It's like a spreadsheet in TradeStation. I use TradeStation. I've been using TradeStation for 37 years. So to me, it's like the back of my hand. I've grown up with them. So I stick with them, and I think they're the best. So these are the symbols that I analyze in my Sunday Side of the Street newsletter, and they're alphabetical. And then I go over here and I've got my PHW. These are where the yellow dots are. Only this time what it's done is it's added up. So first it added up the ideal profit, which is 1,124,000 on the Dow, and takes 60% of that, 674,000. So you can see in whatever the length of this chart is, there's been significant opportunities. So we can go over here and say first date was May the 14th, 2020, and the last date was yesterday. So you can see that we've got, what is that, 4.5 years of data, but $674,000 in 4 years is pretty darn good. Let's look at the next. It's the same data, only sorted this time by PHW. So the highest PHW is now on top, and then 674, and then 78. So you can look at these and say, which of these can I afford? And at the same time, get the most potential profit out of it. I mean, you don't want to buy a share of Bitcoin. Well, that's kind of expensive. $63,000. But you can look down through this and say, you know, I could trade Meta 468, make $5,000. That's not bad. That's one share. So I find that the higher PHWs have more trading opportunities. Yes, they cost more, but they have more opportunity for profit. Let's look at an example of short-term versus long-term frames. This is buy and hold the Dow Jones, which we don't trade, but it's a good example. So if you bought at the beginning of 2020, that's when those charts started in the PHW, and you sold at the end yesterday, then that's $34,246 total, buy and hold. So if we take 60% of the ideal on that same daily chart, you get $327,000. See why I like the trade? It makes a lot more money potentially than just buying and holding. It's quite a difference. So I find that faster term trading generally yields more profits, but you have to find days that I mean, I've been caught in several sideways days lately in my live trading room, and there's nothing you can do except lose money in a sideways day. So what you need to do is measure the difference between the SunnyBands and see if it's 5 or more points so you can capture some of it. Because 60% of 5 or more points is just going to be 6 points. Of course, all of this is only true to the degree that your strategy is profitable. We have to talk about that in a minute. So how do you find a system in the first place? What is a system? And how do I get one? So disciplined trading is following a recipe, a map, a guide that you follow to its conclusion. It's like Dan was saying, you set your entry price, you set your exit price, you set your stop loss, and you're done. That's a system. So your system could be as simple as trading on the long side on sunny days and the short side on rainy days. That's a system. Of course, it'd be a different system if you lived in Washington State versus Florida. If you follow the plan day after day, keeping track of the results, then you can call yourself a disciplined trader. That's the system and that's discipline. But you have to follow it every day. I find that the fear of the word system is like the fear of math. Usually people who didn't like math in school simply didn't have a good teacher. Likewise, if you hesitate at the word system, it's probably for lack of a good teacher. Remember that the system's just the recipe, and you use recipes all the time. If you don't cook, do you type? That's a recipe. You're following a recipe for pressing a key that causes a particular letter to appear on paper. Do you watch television? You follow a recipe regarding time and channel in order to view the programs you like. But I find that most often the people who resist delineating the rules of their system are the people who are afraid to find out that their system doesn't work. That's mostly what that, and it's a lot of work. It's very tedious to test the system by hand. And I could call these traders intuition. They don't have intuition. They are intuition, hoping that they'll be lucky and the system will produce the profits just because they deserve it. I see so many people get into trading that way. I hear it over and over again. I mean, I talk to a lot of people and I hear over and over again, well, I need to do something to supplement my income. An easy job that supplements my income. Well, this is not an easy job. And the chances of it supplementing your income are slim to none for the first 3 years. Sorry to disappoint, but I like to, I said I'm logical, I'm mathematical. I just kind of tell it like it is. Let's talk about designing a system for a few minutes. It's really just a matter of expressing your rules. We all see things in the chart of whatever market we're watching. I know I do. I kind of blur my eyes and look for patterns and look for things I call attractors, which are support, resistance, moving averages, trend lines, things like that. I find that price moves to these attractors over and over again. I watch when in my live trading room, I watch the 1 minute NASDAQ, and I have a 21, a 55, and a 200 moving average on it. And this thing trades right back and forth to those lines over and over all morning. So we see these things and we think they must be universal truths. One of the first systems I came up with for myself was I had noticed that now there were only daily bars then. There was no evening market and there was no electronic market. But I found that if in the newspaper, I found that Friday closed down, then Monday would open up. And I tested that and tested that 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, it worked. Well, it must be a system, I thought. So, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a pretty good proof. So I tried it. Next weekend, Friday to Monday, lost money. I only tried that 3 times total. I said, I don't like the losing money part of this business. So I gave that up and thought there's got to be more to testing a system than just seeing 5 occurrences and believing. So I came up with a pretty strict method of testing ideas. And it's, I think, the best descriptions in getting started in trading one of my books, and Trading 102. And they're cheap. You can buy them used for $6 or $7 on Amazon. So it's only by testing these concepts that you can prove your system. There's no other way around it. You've got to do the hard work. And I teach that if anybody's interested. So the question you really want to know the answer to is, will it work over time? I mean, yeah, that's fine if it works in the subset of the data that you tried it on, but will it work tomorrow and next week and next month? So we have to specify our rules. We need conditions and actions. So they're things that could be true or false. Those are conditions. And actions, which are like verbs. Do something. For instance, here's a rule in a system. If price crosses over the moving average of length 20, then buy at the market. It's pretty simple. It's just English statement. Now, this is almost an easy language statement in TradeStation. So to make it an official easy language statement, we would change it to, if close is greater than average of close, comma 20, then buy next bar at market. It's almost exactly the same, isn't it? They're very, very close. And it's just easy. It's called easy language because it's very easy. I can set you up with easy language in one lesson. Okay, rules. Now what do? You've got to test your rules against actual market data to see whether the rules make money. That's the one thing, that's the overarching goal of this game, is to make money. Now, one of the things that's hard to do is you have to be honest with your analysis, especially if you're writing these things down by hand or doing them in an Excel spreadsheet. You're gonna find yourself going, oh, I would have taken that trade. But you can't do that. It has to be exactly what your rules said for it to do. You take, quote, trades, because you're doing this all hypothetically at this point, everywhere that your rules say to, and only if they say to. So if they don't say to do the trade, then you don't do the trade, even if it goes where you thought it was going to go. And I keep a very detailed log. Keep yours either in Excel or on accounting paper. And you write down each and every entry, date, time, and price. Oh, and you'll need symbol too if you're trading more than one thing. So entry would be buy, Tesla, date, time, and price. And then you write down next the exit date, time, and price, and symbol. And then you calculate the net profit. Well, you have to also know the number of shares you're going to trade. So you're going to trade 10 shares of Tesla at this price. And then when you get out, hopefully the price is higher. And then you calculate the difference between them and multiply by the number of shares. Add it all up. And now we're going to do some calculation. If it's anywhere near the PHW, you've got a winner in this. And I'm going to show you something else I invented because, pardon me, I wanted to be able to compare one system to any other system. When you look at all the statistics that are available and you have no idea which ones matter. So I'll show you what I use. So you want to know total net profit. That's important. You want to know the profit factor, which is the gross profit divided by the gross loss. So you want that to be approaching 2 to 1. Profit over loss is 2. The number of trades, if it's one thing if you make 500 trades, it's a whole nother thing if you make 12 trades. So I don't like to think that a system is proven until it has more than 30 trades. I prefer 100 to show you the truth, but 30 is what the statistical people say. Then you need to know percent profitable. So out of 100 trades, were 80% of them profitable and the other 20% losses? Or was it more like 50% or 20%? You need to know that number. And one more, the ratio of the average win to the average loss. So if your average win's $400 and your average loss is $200, then that ratio is 2. And not only the total net profit, but we want to know the average trade net profit. So if you figure in slippage and commission, which we always have, I haven't found a way yet to get around it. And I found in these sideways markets, there's a lot of split fills happening. So you want to know if this is average, if your profitable trades were 100 and your losses were 40, then you've got 60 for your average trades net profit divided by the number of trades. So you need to know, are you making enough to cover the slippage and commission? And then leave some profit for you. So if you're trading at a $35 profit, you're not going to have enough room for slippage and commission in there. So you're going to be actually trading a negative system. Now, here's this other thing I invented. I call it my CPC index. And it is 3 of the statistics that I showed you on the previous slide: profit factor, the ratio, and the percent profitable. So if you multiply these 3 things together, it gives you one number that measures any system with respect to any other system. And I only trade systems with a CPC greater than 1.2. John Bollinger used to say that the profit factor and the ratio both had to be 2 or greater. Well, it's next to impossible to find a strategy with 2 or greater. So I figured there's got to be an interplay between those 2 numbers, so that if one's 4 and the other one's 0.5, you still have the same thing as if they were both, if they were 1 and 2. So you've still got the same weighting. It's just skewed a little differently. So it's a quick way of rating your system against any other system. And here's a performance report. This is for my live trading room. You can see that we've made $18,000 so far. And you can see all the statistics that are available on this. And there's lots more. And that's where you get the statistics to calculate the CPC index. So when you're going to try to determine your rules, you've got to look at a lot of charts. It takes a lot of frogs before you get a prince. So what is true is my main question. If I look at the chart with the PHW dots on it that I showed you earlier, and I look to see, let's say I'm looking at a moving average because I'm a beginning trader and I don't know better yet. So I've got a moving average on my chart, then what are the dots doing with respect to the perfect entry and the indicator? So if price is above the indicator, that might be a long entry, and if price is below the indicator, it might be a short entry. Then do all the calculations and find out if that works or not. I have 18 months of research that I've got in banker's boxes that I did when I first started learning to trade and was coming up with strategies and systems and indicators and all that kind of stuff. And I tested every indicator that was in any of the software that I had. I couldn't find any that stood on their own and worked without adjustments or filters. So the only reason I know that is because I kept really detailed notes and logs. So here's the dots again on the SunnyBands. So I'm going to look at the perfect dots here and here on this chart. And I see this perfect dot. Now I ask, what is true? What was happening when that dot was right there at that perfect turning point? Well, I had red bars coming down, drop below the lower inner band, continue to drop on red bars down to the lower outer band, turn blue. Now that's a trigger right there. No, it's a setup, sorry. That's a setup. Now this next bar goes higher than the close of the previous bar, so that's a confirmation. And we go screaming on up. And that's what is true with SunnyBands. So you look at the yellow dots and you say, what's true of the indicator? Now this one's kind of special. I spent 3 years developing SunnyBands and the dynamic moving average. So that's some of the original work that I did in my master's thesis was in that SunnyBands calculations. So it started the daily live trading room on January the 2nd. Trade along with Sunny. I trade 5 contracts of the S&P. We're together for 1 hour at 9 a.m. PT. I trade with double the margin. So the margin for the ES is $12.98, I think, a contract. So I trade with $2,500 per contract. That way it gives you some money if you have losses, because you got to have money in there. So here are the results so far. And this is a little 99-second video I'm going to play for you. Tell me if you can hear it. Wait just a second. Why did it stop? I'll turn the sound all the way up. There we go. Here's my number again if you want to text SSS to me.
And with the flat DMA with gold on top, I don't really expect it to go much slower than the DMA. If
This
it goes
is a
down
live
and
trading
closes under the DMA, then I'm short. Now, 1 minute Nasdaq's just going straight up. Look, there's it's trying. Let's see what this one's doing. Come on.
Order filled.
There we go.
What I'm watching right now is to see if that's going to go above this inner band. And if it does, it seems to me like it's going to move a little further up.
Order filled.
There we go.
Good job.
Thank you. That was a perfect exit on that trade, wasn't it?
Sure was.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I've taken 2 of them, Sonny.
Have you? Did you make any money?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's my information again. So if you want to text SSS to the red number here, I'll send you Sunny Side of the Street. And if you text guest pass to the number, then I will send you a guest pass to my next live trading room. So you can get to see what this looks like. Oh, now how do I get rid of it? Oh, okay, so there's the chart. You can see I've been in some little bit of drawdown here. I set a really steep goal for myself there. So that's like $5,000 every 3 weeks. So that's pretty decent. And even with this little bit of drawdown here, we're currently up 143% for the year so far. And that's what it looks like. You keep a spreadsheet of everything. And then the net after commission and slippage is 18,251 now. And these are the screens that you saw in that little fast video. On the left, we've got a yellow chart. That's a 1 minute chart of the E-mini. The green one is a 5 minute chart of the E-mini. You can see it has SunnyBands on it. It has the dynamic moving average histogram, which is right here and here on this one. And then I've got a couple of other indicators. Who's on top shows me dots to tell me who's on top, gold or purple. So I can real fast tell if the slope is flat because they turn light colors, or whether gold's on top. Because when they're narrow and close together, it's very hard to tell who's on top. And then I have an indicator called slope that tells me the slope of the dynamic moving average itself, and then volume. So that's what my trading screen looks like. And I get to look at that every day, day in and day out, year after year. When you're doing it right, trading's boring. It's not all exciting and thrilling. It's just boring because you do the same thing over and again. So speaking of money, now we're going to get to the ultimate F part of this. If you have a profitable series of trades, then it's possible with strategic and judicious compounding to greatly magnify the profits. And I call this strategic compounding ultimate F. I met a guy about 30 or more years ago at one of the conferences I was at, and his name was Ralph Vince. And he created something called Optimal F and wrote a beautiful book about it. And I read all through it and I studied his talk. And I got in hold of him and said, there's some errors in this formula. He said, I know, but I can't find them. I've been looking for 2 years now and I haven't found it. And I said, well, let me take a look at it. So I took a look at it and I found it. So I said to him, would you mind if I call mine Ultimate F and if I use it? He said, no, go right ahead. Ralph Vince told me he was Italian. I said, Vince isn't an Italian name. He said it was originally Da Vinci. So you can tell he comes from a long line of mathematicians. This is what the spreadsheet looks like. And you can see the blue. This is the extended income equity for the live trading room. This is what it's been doing. If I duplicate the trades over and over, because I didn't have enough otherwise. But if you compound them with the Ultimate F spreadsheets, you can see you have some risk in these periods where there's drawdown in the little one, there's bigger drawdown in the big one. But it doesn't do what Ralph's optimal F does, which is crash you at the worst possible moment. So here we go again, more drawdown, steeper than down here. But on the blue one, we're up to $50,000. And on the red one, we're up to $250,000. So it's a big difference for taking that extra risk. So there's $400 a day, not compounded, or 2,030 days if you compound it. It makes a really big difference. That's what a few degrees in mathematics will do for you. Ralph, I just said that, told you that there were errors in his equations, and I found them. And he allowed me to call mine Ultimate F, which I think is very gracious of him. So in short, stay organized, test your ideas, follow your system, and that's what I call the psychology of trading. Follow your system. Are there any questions? Oh, I've got a few questions here in the chat. Let's see. What do I say in the text to Sunny? I don't know. Brian from Maryland. Sorry, I missed your call the other day. I was on the road. Good to hear your voice. Nice. Thank you. Will you need a subscription to TradeStation? I think the subscription to TradeStation's free. I think you get the software and open a little account. It doesn't have to be more than $1,000. And you can trade in TradeStation. And you pay commission, but their commissions are very low. So you pay the commission, then you pay the exchange fees, which everybody has to pay just to get the data. With every trade, you get nicked a little bit. But I think that the my commission at TradeStations on the ES is 50 cents a side. It's nothing. I used to pay $50 a side per contract. That's back when data cost me $2,000 a month. Things have changed. That's nice. Thanks for the, this seems pretty legit. Thanks for the straightforward conversation. I appreciate that. Okay, do we have any questions? Because my talk's going to be over pretty soon. You might as well use my time. I'm free right now. No? David, you have any questions?
Uh, no, I don't think so.
No such thing as a stupid question. I can guarantee that if you have the question, so does someone else. And there's my website. That's what Money Mentor looks like on the homepage. And look across all these menus at the top. They pull down with lots of other selections. And you can find, well, I have over 1,000 pages in Money Mentor. So just explore and have a great time. You can go to resources. I had to go to resources today. I'm introducing a new Metastock version of SunnyBands, and they didn't have the color right. So they said, give me the RGB values of the color. So I went to resources on Money Mentor and I pulled down to reference and clicked on colors, told him the RGB colors I wanted. Oh, please post the info for the free session again. So here's my phone number, 760-908. Did I type it right? 3070. And for the guest pass, you chat to the live trading room, you text guest pass to me. And if you want to get a free issue of Sunny Side of the Street, SSS. So I need to know if you want to come to the trading room or you want to get a free issue of Sunny Side of the Street. If you want both, text me both. And anybody that has TradeStation, NinjaTrader, soon to be Metastock, multi-charts, I have free 7-day trials of my software available. So if you want to try what you saw here today, text me free trial. Let's do that. Free trial. I can set you up on all that stuff. And just so you know, I don't have a sales department that's going to answer you and harass you and try to get you to buy something. It's me and my assistant Diane, and we run the whole show, along with my little dog Pumpkin. So dial the number, you get in touch with me. Thank you very much. Let's see if I have anything else on the slides. Oh yeah. I show you exactly how I use my indicators. You can go to moneymentor.com and click on order form or products if you just want to see pictures. And again, I don't hold anything back. And I do train you to use them for free. We do 2 free Zoom calls, one to set up the software and one to use it in the live markets. Text me something. I have bundles offers coming up to 30% off, good through May 31st. So if you want to get, that happens once a year. So if you want to give me a call or text me or something, or you go to moneymentor.com and click on products and pull down to bundles. Bundles discount. Or text me X. I'll talk to you about it. I'll give you a call if you're afraid to give me a call. Also, for people who are members of Money Mentor, I did a strategy trading forum for 4 weeks last year. That's all available to download for free for members. Talked about developing trading strategies. And then I also did a technical analysis forum, also free for members. And you can access the slides and video of the Easy Language Forum. This one costs a little bit. It's $79.95 for 5 hours. And you get them all at moneymentor.com just by being a free member. I offer education consulting, programming services, mentoring. I have a complete bookstore on Money Mentor. You just click on books and I do get a pittance if you buy a book from Amazon from me. I think I get 50 cents. But it's cool. It keeps traffic coming to the websites, you see. I have a different distance learning course called Solving the Puzzle. I offer indicators that I use in my own trading. I don't offer anything that I don't use myself. Sunny Side of the Street is the nightly newsletter. The daily live trading room is called Trade Along with Sunny, and you get there by going to subscribe. And if you order before the end of this coming week, you can get 20% off on indicators and mentoring. Or if you wait and you order before the end of the month, then that's 10% off everything. Even includes consulting and mentoring time. And if you do want the 7-day free trial, email me or text me. I guess I've said that enough. Text trial to my cell phone. All right, everybody. Thank you, David, for hosting the event. It's wonderful as always, and I really enjoyed talking for you. And thank you, audience, for your attendance. So I love to visit. Give me a call. And again, here's the information. There you go.